This is a Westside High School tutorial on drawing an egg with acrylic paint. For this painting, I started off with the white areas, always painting from my light areas up to my dark areas, carefully following the shape of the egg, especially on the top side, and then working down to the bottom. As I begin to add my next value that I've already pre-mixed, I'll put it underneath the white value, overlapping them slightly, then cleaning off my brush, drying it out, and blending the two together. The direction that you're blending is going to be parallel to the direction that separates your two different shades. You don't want to blend perpendicular because you're going to pull too much paint. So again, I'm kind of drying my brush off periodically, cleaning off the paint that I might pick up, and going back to smooth in. This is a dry brush technique where I'm using small amounts of paint and cleaning my brush off regularly to get a really smooth blend. As I continue to blend down into my next values, I lay down a little bit more of my light gray and starting to add in my darker gray values. Again, following that shape of the egg, making sure my values go in a curved line and not straight, and blending perpendicular to where my values transition. Remember to continue to clean off your brush as you go back, and so you don't pull in too much paint. This video has been sped up. It's about 2 times the time as normal to allow you to kind of see the whole demonstration in a shorter amount of time. But this egg took me about 12 minutes to paint. Now I'm going in and laying down the lights that are underneath the egg, and this is the reflected light that kind of bounces off from the table, and blending that into the darker areas. All of this is being done, again, with small amounts of paint and really blending with a really dry brush to get that as smooth and as consistent as you want. At this point where I've added all of my color down, gotten my basic of my values, now it's where I'm going back through and kind of really refining the rest of my egg and looking for areas that I could go back and adjust where my values are and how they're transitioning together. Now I'll start adding in a little bit more of my dark area, enhancing that dark value, making sure I have a really strong transition from those lights to darks and having high contrast. This video has a little bit lighter side on the right, so the egg is appearing a little bit lighter than it does in real life, but you can still see the differences between my light and my dark areas. Throughout this egg, I maintained a crisp edge, really focusing on those edges so that those are even and smooth and don't have any kind of scumbly or uneven bumpy parts. It's the same shape of that egg. If you do have some uneven parts that go outside of the shape of your egg, you can come back and maybe fix that as you're doing some of your background area. Here you can see I'm continuing to layer colors on top of each other, mixing in my values to try to get a more accurate values that are in the egg. And as I do this, making sure that I'm laying more paint down to blend, because if your paint is completely dry, you're not going to be able to blend it. It's another thing that's helpful from painting an egg day to day. As you go back and fix things the next day, you're going to have to lay down some paint, mix values that are already there, and lay those colors down in order to blend your paints together. At this point, I'm kind of bringing down that lighter area on the right side in order to make that a little bit more accurate. Still doing some more touches and blending in a little bit more. Your first layer of paint isn't going to be the final layer. Unlike pencil, with paint, you're usually going to layer a bunch of different values of paint on top of each other to get the correct values. This is the demonstration for painting an egg with acrylic paint. This demonstration was a dry brush technique with smaller amounts of paint and blending with a really dry brush that I cleaned and wiped off periodically. Hope this tutorial helps you as you are practicing blending paint and applying paint to create a three-dimensional object in black and white values.